today I am going to share with you the 4 basic processes that you must have tight in your consulting business in order to make it successful and ultimately to see it grow.
You an entrepreneur, I got what you need.
Hey there, my loves. Welcome back to CPTV. I'm CP, and this is the place for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs who want to turn their passions into businesses and those businesses into 6- and 7-figure empires. Does that sound like you? Well, then you are going to want to come on in, take a look around, and subscribe, because every single Tuesday I am giving you the strategies and the step-by-step actionable training for you to implement immediately into your business and get to that level of entrepreneurial freedom that you so deserve and ultimately desire. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you don't miss any of it. And of course, if you like it, then show me, because all talk and no action makes me a very sad girl. Smash that like button and say yes, CP, in the comments below if you need to tighten up your processes in your consulting business in 2022. So, you're a consultant and you are selling your expertise. Brilliant idea. And I'm not just saying that because I've been a consultant for the majority of my entrepreneurial journey, actually all of it. I'm saying that because when you are selling your intellectual property, it automatically gives you a blue ocean amongst the sea of competitors, right? Because there's only one you. But you can run into some problems with selling that expertise if you don't come across as credible and professional and just plain like you know what the heck you are doing. And one surefire way to say to the world, I'm trying to get you to pay me a lot of money to teach you how to do something, but I don't really know what I'm doing myself, and is to make sure that you don't have good processes in place when you're running your consulting business. I mean, let's face it, if you don't collect money well, efficiently, and effectively, or you don't have a smooth sales process, or even worse, you don't properly onboard your clients and service them to the best of your ability, or deliver what they're paying for you to do in a professional and clean, organized manner, your consulting business won't go very far. And even worse, it'll fall apart pretty quickly. That is why good, well-documented processes are critical when you are a consultant. And today, I am going to share with you the 4 basic processes that you must have tight in your consulting business in order to make it successful and ultimately to see it grow. So, are you ready? Good. Then, let's get to work. Look, I'm going to tell you what consulting processes you need, but you are going to need to do the work to actually spell them out and document what you want them to look like. And to help you do that, I am giving you my free guide to creating business processes. Yup, it's yours. It's a fillable PDF, and it's an amazing workbook to help you think things through about what you want to have happen, and to help you document when I am getting ready to teach you. So make sure that you grab that guide. Click the link in the description and in the comments below. It is my free gift to you to use it to get your stuff all the way together, boo, okay? Process number 1, your money in process. Now, I have spoken in many other CPTV episodes about your money in processes, regardless of what type of business you have. But as a consultant, your money in process is critical. First reason is because you are charging typically higher ticket priced services, which means it's big money for clients. And the more they're paying, the higher their expectations are going to be. You have to make sure that the way that you collect money from your clients is feasible simple for a big ticket service like consulting, but also smooth so that you can receive it on time and also make sure that they know exactly what you expect and how they can pay you. Most businesses are going to pay consultants via invoice, which means you are going to bill them and then receive your money in a timely fashion. But the process that you use is going to be what truly dictates whether or not you get that money timely. I have made the mistake before of not having super tight invoicing processes in place. And that means the very first invoice that goes out, telling them when the due date is, telling them how much time they have, making sure that in your contracting process it says what you're going to do if there's a late invoice. But also those billing reminders, right? Invoicing is one of those things that most people receive and say, I got some time to actually pay this. And if you spend a ton of time chasing people down for invoices, it is a true sign that your money in process might not be where it needs to be. Now, there are systems and tools that I definitely recommend when you are doing your money in process. I've talked about two of them in previous videos. One is QuickBooks Online. It has an amazing reminder built-in system that will allow you to send out an invoice, allow people to click a button to ultimately pay you via your bank account or via a credit card, but also it will automatically remind them that their invoices are due. Even if you don't use the automatic reminder feature, you can very easily go in and send a reminder and update with canned messaging, which allows you to have a very seamless and professional looking invoicing process. The other system that I've mentioned in the past is Dubsado, which I love to use for my consulting business. And in Dubsado, it also has a very easy, quick to use invoicing process in place. And I also love the fact that you can do automatic billing with Dubsado as well. But QuickBooks Online allows you to also do ACHing. So both of them allow for a very seamless money in process. The biggest deal about your money in process that you're going to want to make sure you're on top of is when you're going to collect your money, how often you're going to collect your money, and what your client's expectations should be around what each of those invoices are going to look like. So the payment plans that you're going to allow people to use. Most of the time in consulting, it is not unreasonable to have someone pay you a certain percentage up front, maybe a couple of different payments in the middle of your contract, and then ultimately the final payment at the end of your contract. But I'll get into more of that in a future video, so make sure that you stay tuned because I want to dive real deep into invoicing and payment plans as a consultant. But that money in process, how easy it is for them to receive it, is going to be critical to displaying your professionalism, especially if you are out there trying to tell businesses how to function in a certain way or teach them or help them how to get things in place. If you don't have a good invoicing process in place or a money in process in place, you are going to look absolutely crazy in trying to sell someone a $5,000 or $10,000 service when you can't even collect your money well. So your money in process as a consultant is critical for you to sit down and think exactly what you're going to do and the steps that it's going to take to get there. Now, critical process number 2, your sales process. Your sales process is so important as a consultant. And there are so many different things that you have to make sure that you are displaying during that sales process. A big part of your sales process, and don't worry, I'm gonna break this down real in depth in a whole nother video, is how you get your clients in the door to actually have that conversation. When you are charging more than, let's say, $2,000 for a service, a face-to-face conversation is a must. So you've got to make sure you're incorporating that face-to-face conversation into that sales process. You have to also make sure that you're getting enough information to be able to customize that service for that client and ultimately put together a proposal. When you are hiring a consultant, most people feel like they're going to receive some information from you spelling out exactly what your deliverables are going to be and exactly what that scope of work is going to contain. You can't just say, oh, well, this is kind of what I'm going to do and this is how much I'm going to charge you during a face-to-face conversation. You want to make sure including in that sales process is a written document that you can send out to someone and give them an opportunity to review, ideally with you, so you have an additional opportunity to sell. So making sure that you're spelling out all the steps that are going to be included in that sales process is critical, because really you need to make sure that you're talking to them face to face, so you're scheduling some type of appointment. You need to make sure that you are gathering enough information to put together a good proposal. You need to be able to put that proposal together. You need to be able to send it out, follow up with them, and then ultimately close them, contract them, and all of those types of things. So when you're sitting there and you're thinking about what that sales process is going to look like, it has to go beyond, oh, let me have a conversation and sell somebody. Because as a consultant, it really does need to be customized for that client. It's the only way that you can charge high ticket service prices like $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. So that sales process, how you're going to get them into the door, get them to hear what you can offer, and then ultimately get them closed is going to be critical for you. And the better your sales process, the higher your close ratio is going to be. Let me give it to you this way. Wouldn't it be better than talking to 100 people and only closing 3 if you could only talk to 10 and then close 3? Of course it would. That's a 30% close ratio versus a 3% close ratio. And the reason why it's better is because if you talk to 100 people, that means you got to get even more leads in the door, which is more marketing, which is more money. So having a concrete, well-documented, well-figured-out sales process is critical to anybody out there that considers themselves to be a consultant. Got a good one and it's efficient and it's effective, you'll notice how much higher of a price you can pay, you can charge, and what people are actually going to be able to willing to pay you. That sales process is that first introduction to who you are as an expert. And if it's not tight, and I mean tight, ain't nobody gonna pay you to teach them nothing. They ain't gonna believe you can teach them nothing because you ain't got it all the way together, okay? So your sales process is going to be critical in growing a successful consulting business. Now, critical process number 3, and I cannot stress this enough, your onboarding process. There is nothing worse than getting a sale and then leaving that customer or that client out there hanging, wondering what the next steps are going to be. It is so important for you to have an efficient and an effective onboarding process. What is going to be that chunk of a process that you will put in place between when you close the sale, when you get that service agreement or service contract signed, to when you actually begin delivering the service? The time frame in between those two is critical. I've done it in the past and I've made mistakes doing it. I've sold someone, been so pumped and so excited that they decided to hire me, bring me on board, and actually send me a chunk of money to kind of get things started. And then a week or 2 weeks goes by in between, and I'm getting messages from the client saying, okay, what are the next steps? I just gave you $3,000 and I haven't heard from you. An onboarding process is absolutely critical. And believe it or not, there are a ton of tools out there that can automate that onboarding process for you. As soon as someone signs, you can click a couple of buttons. It will automatically reach out to them and get that next step in your process scheduled. But you won't be able to utilize those tools if you haven't documented what that onboarding process is going to look like. Onboarding your customer and clients is just as important as onboarding a new employee. It's that first impression into what the service is going to feel like when they receive it. And this is a critical piece because if you don't get it right, you will get cancellations and you will get refund requests. So that happiness and that excitement that you felt when you finally get that service agreement scheduled and you finally get that chunk of money is going to go away real quick when somebody asks for their money back, all because you didn't take the time to sit down and think about what your onboarding process should include. So if there's anything that you are going to do, make sure that you are onboarding your clients effectively and efficiently. Spend the time to figure out what that's supposed to look like and ultimately what you would want that experience to feel like if you're hiring somebody for a high ticket product or service. Trust me, totally worth it, will totally increase the retention of your clients and services, and ultimately will give you more sales because they're going to refer you to someone else when that onboarding experience is a good one. And critical must-have process number 4, your service process. Now, this is a big missing piece for a lot of consultants because if you do successfully get through the sales process and you're able to master that onboarding process, then you're like, well, the next step is for me just to kind of do the work. But there needs to be a step-by-step process of what doing that work is going to look like so that it's also very smooth and also very organized. You really want to take the time out to say, if I am offering a client this this particular service, how am I going to implement and deliver that service? What is my timeline going to look like for implementing and delivering that service? And how am I going to make sure that I'm in constant contact with that client, making sure that they are actually getting what they need from me as their consultant? If you just try to wing your service process, they are going to very quickly feel like they are being put on the back burner and that you're winging it. And that impacts your credibility. And credibility as a consultant is the most important thing that you are going to have. So making sure that whatever your product or service is, that you have spelled out and mapped out what it looks like to deliver that service is going to get that client to that end result that you want them to experience. And when that's the case, they will come back again when they need you for something else. So make sure that if you are offering, let's just say, a recruiting service as a consultant, then you've got mapped out exactly what the steps are going to be to get that recruiting service delivered, to get that candidate in the interviewing process, to get that candidate pulled to that client, what your meetings are going to look like so that you can get information that you need, because they are busy. Chasing them down ain't gonna work. And if you are winging it, it is going to totally and absolutely be a flop. So spend the time figuring out how you're going to deliver the service that you've been promising. Trust me, you've gotten this far. You've marketed them, you've sold them, you've onboarded them, so you have to service them well. And customer service is critical in your success and being able to grow the consulting practice of your dreams. Look, my love, being an expert and having a consulting business is oftentimes a one-person situation. You are doing the work for your clients, and they are paying you top dollar to do that work. So you have to do it well. And having efficient processes is so critical to the impression that you'll make, to the value that you will actually bring, and to the money that you can charge. So do not wing your consulting business. Don't play with it. Sit down and write out what your 4 processes will look like. As a matter of fact, grab that guide that I mentioned. It's absolutely free. Click the link below. Begin to work through all the steps. The guide is going to teach you how. You have to have it all spelled out. You have to be effective, because the fastest way to become not an expert is to do things half-assed and disorganized and be all over the place, okay? Don't worry. This is just the beginning, my love. I am just getting started giving you the consulting business goods. I'm going to be sharing in the weeks to come everything that I have learned and know about growing a 7-figure consulting practice. So make sure that you stay tuned, subscribe, like this video, but only if you do. Share it with someone else in your life and in your circle that needs this information, and make sure that you stay safe, my love. It is crazy out here in the wilderness, all right? Bye-bye. See you next week.